Good morning! Welcome back to my channel where I make lifestyle videos about books, beauty, and sustainability. It is officially August, which means I owe you guys a July reading wrap-up. So I'm going to start with the books that were on my TBR, and then I'll end with a few that I picked up along the way. I don't have any of the books physically with me because I take them out from the library and I've already returned them, but I will be popping up images as we go along. I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. The first book that I finished was Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. It is the sequel to Scythe and the second book in the Arc of a Scythe series. To quickly summarize, the series is set in a world where technology has beaten death. So in order to curb population growth, scythes are tasked with killing or gleaning a certain amount of people each year. I really enjoy this series. I love some of the existential or philosophical questions that these books ask. I particularly enjoyed the ending of this book and how some of the foreshadowing from earlier books played out. In the third book, I hope Shusterman leans into the political intrigue he's established, and also I hope to see a rotation in the lineup of characters. I also hope that we finally get to see the redemption arc that I think we've all been waiting for. I'm eager to see what the final book in the trilogy has in store, and I rated this one a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book on my TBR was Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and this one is set in a magical circus. The book had a bit of a slow start, but once it got going, I did enjoy it. I wasn't a huge fan of the way that reality was blended with illusion, because I found myself being skeptical of everything, and I was somewhat disappointed with some of the reveals. I also enjoyed the romance plotline, which was an enemies to lovers trope. I like this book as a standalone, but I don't feel the need to continue with the series. However, I am glad that Donatella gets her own book because she didn't have a chance to be fully developed or have much agency since she was absent for most of the novel. I did find the ending a bit rushed, which is surprising considering there are other books, so there was no need to tie up things so cleanly and quickly. Overall, though, it was an enjoyable read, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that was featured on my TBR is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Sometimes I watch a book-to-movie adaptation because I'm interested in the story but not enough to read the whole book, and I honestly wish that this had been the case with this book. I just sort of feel like I wasted my time with this one. I kind of got into the mindset that, well, I'm getting through it somewhat quickly and I'm this far in, I may as well finish it, but honestly I should have just DNF'd it. I'm really trying to get away from the philosophy that once I've started a book I have to finish it, but old habits die hard. I didn't like this book. I didn't feel like Finn and Violet had chemistry, and I didn't understand the relationship from Violet's point of view. I didn't find it believable. I also really didn't enjoy reading from Finn's point of view, and I didn't like the way that the author handled mental illness, nor did I feel like they had anything particularly meaningful to say about it. Maybe this book was revolutionary at the time, but I feel like for me, it didn't hold up. I give this book 1 out of 5 stars. Now onto the books that weren't featured on my TBR, the first of which is Eleanor and Park by Rowell, which is a contemporary romance. I adored this book. I blew through it so quickly. When I picked it up, I expected something really light and fluffy, and what I got instead was just this heart-wrenching story. This book deals with really dark issues, including alcoholism, domestic abuse, and bullying. But I thought it handled all of them in a really beautiful and delicate way. I loved this book, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Some of the things I didn't like about the book were the themes of internalized fat phobia, and also the way that makeup was sort of discussed. I also didn't like the way the ideas of makeup and authenticity were presented in the book. I often find there are problems in the way that the relationship towards makeup is presented in YA novels. It's rarely ever done in a complex or meaningful way. If you would like a book that explores the complexities of wearing makeup, I would recommend Face Value by Autumn Whitefield-Madrano. Next, I read the first 3 books in the Scribbles series by Sarah Andersen. I really liked these books. They were light and fluffy, they were super cozy, and I think they would be great fall reads, and very relatable if you're an introvert, especially if you live in a cold climate and just want to cozy up in a blanket all day. I think having seen some of these strips, or at least jokes that were similar to them online, kind of ruined the books a little bit for me, because since the concepts weren't totally unique, the punchlines didn't have as much impact. Overall, I still think these are cute reads and worth picking up, and I gave them 3 out of 5 stars. Last but not least was Petty Theft by Pascal Girard. I was very happy to see that this book was written by a local. It's always nice to see some Quebec representation. This was a semi-autobiographical graphic novel about a cartoonist sort of down on his luck. He gets an injury that prevents him from running, and he's in a bookstore one day when he sees someone steal one of his books, and adventures ensue. This one was also really quick to flip through. The only thing is that I felt like it was jumpy at times, and that if the author had added in 1 or 2 more slides, it would have made the story flow better, or at least be a little bit clearer. I liked that it had a really authentic quality to it, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So that's it. That's everything that I read in the month of July. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me down below what you read in the month of July and anything that you're planning on reading in the month of August. And if you've read any of the books that I mentioned, please let me know what you thought of them. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!